Good evening everyone and welcome back to Finance Lingo. In this video, we will be sharing with you on my opinion on the Union Gas IPO. So let's start with the disclaimer. This presentation is provided to you for general information only and does not constitute a recommendation and offer or solicitation to subscribe or purchase the investment product mentioned here. Okay, the rest of the disclaimer, do read through it yourself. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this is a Union Gas and this is one of the household brand a lot of people is probably very familiar. You probably see several times on the coffee shops. Okay, so to obtain a soft copy of this prospectus, you just need to go to www.sgx.com, go over to the company information over here and go to prospectus. Okay, you will be shown if the Union Gas Holdings Limited. Just click on it and you will be given you can download the prospectus over here. Okay, so now let's take a look at the prospectus. This is the page 1 of the prospectus. Okay, here what we are looking at is that they are offering 1.28 million shares to the public. Okay, and the remaining 58.7 is to be done so through placement. So in this case, the placement agent will be the CIMB. Alright, so if you do have an CIMB trading accounts and if you are seriously interested in this share, they like to have some placement shares. Okay, so you can look for your CIMB stockbroker and see and tell them that you want a placement tranche, but you will need to get your check ready. Okay, there's no this is placement. This goes on the paid first, ballot later basis. Okay, so here we are. This is the Union Gas. Now we go to the page 3 of this prospectus. Okay, page 3, here we are. Okay, this is the revenue growth of this Union Gas. Their revenue is pretty stagnant over the past 2 years, or you can say that slight decrease over the past 3 years. But what I can see here is that they have pretty good management, internal cost management, which resulted in an increase in net profit. Okay, the gross profit had been reported to be increased steadily. I think this is due to a very good internal cost management to result in such cases. Alright, but of course, nonetheless, the revenue gentle decline does raise a concern. So I do want to break down what's going on here. So let's take a look at these 3 different revenue sources of their business. They have retail liquid petroleum gas, CNG business, as well as diesel business. So the blue sections, okay, let me just enlarge it. The blue sections, what we are looking for here is that the retail LPG gas business is declining and declined pretty rapidly from the year 2014 to 2015, and 2015 to 2016 is pretty mild. Alright, so let's just take a larger look. Okay, so and apart from that, I'm not very concerned on the liquid petroleum gas. No doubt it's declining, but I know it's at a very slow rate. Okay, and when we look at the CNG business, I do have a serious concern on the CNG business. The declining rate was pretty fast. So not looking at that, they are also facing competitions from the electrical car business. So this is really a concern. I'll go more details later. And one thing I do give a job well done to them is that they have incorporated a diesel business sector over here. Alright, so and the business is pretty doing very well. So nonetheless, I do expect the CNG business to continue decline and the diesel business to continue to do well. So net on net, I should expect in the next several years the revenue is going to remain pretty constant. Alright, so I'll give you some more information on what I think later on. And so this is the revenue breakdown. So I do expect the gross profit and net profit to remain relatively constant over the years. Now let's go on to page 34. Okay, this is the indicative time of listing. Okay, well, it's very big. So the IPO closed on 19th of July, 12 noon. Okay, it begins trading on the 21st of July. You guys will know your balloting results, okay, on the 20th of July, one day just before that. So you guys probably don't need to care about 26. That's where you make payment for all the shares you buy on the 21st. Okay, so on the 21st is going to start trading. 21st of July is a Friday. Okay, it's a Friday, and 19th of July is a Wednesday. Okay, so this is the date of listing. Now we go on to page 40. Okay, so this is the revenues and the pro forma earnings per share. Okay, what this means is that, okay, just refer to this note 1. Note 1 pro forma. Okay, you can just read through this paragraph. In summary, it's just taking into assumption that this what they're going to do with the proceeds from IPO is used to buy over their business. Taking that consideration of business being bought, okay, in the year 2014, what would their financial results be? So it's mean to say after the IPO, assuming the business was bought over in 2014, the earnings per share would have resulted at with this amount here. Okay, so this is a pretty good EPS, earnings per share. When you compare the share price at 3.06, you'll probably be looking at a PE ratio about 6.9. Alright, so it's pretty amazing why they are offering such a low PE ratio stocks, but nonetheless later on you probably will know the reasons why. Okay, so that is the EPS. Okay, and next we go further down. They also did work out the NAV per share for you, so I don't need to spend the time to work it out. So the NAV is at 6.73 after the IPO. Okay, around 6.73 during the IPO. Okay, so what does means it clearly indicate that you're buying a quite a premium above the book values, but that's not a big concern. At least the company is still generating decent profits. Okay, so now let's go on to page 60. So what are they going to do with the money raised from the IPO? So what you can see here is that they are going to use the money to acquire a dealer for their liquid petroleum gas business. So they are going to spend $4 million worth from this raising of money to buy over that business. So, and the rest will be just some expenses, alright? Some general listing expenses and some for general working capital. So as what you can see, above it goes to buy over another business which is not listed. Okay. The reason being, so I just need to go back here. I think the boss of this company think that when they buy over the business, what you can see is that if they didn't buy over the business, the earning is only probably coming to 2 cents. Just by buying over their another business, the earnings ratio easily come up to 3 cents per share, which is relatively good. Alright, so I think it's a pretty strategic decision to buy over the business and tap on the database of this company that they bought over to expand the business. I think that's what they're trying to do. Okay, next we move on to the page 65. I think this is the part where a lot of people love to listen to. It's the dividend policy. Okay, so blah blah blah, that's what I'm going to say. Okay, but I just want to jump straight to the point. Okay, so their board, okay, intend to distribute not less than 50% of their earnings to the shareholders. So I think that's very attractive and that's very rewarding for the shareholders. What I can say is that, well, as a shareholders, you probably be very happy. But on the flip side of it, when a company does distribute such a high proportion of dividends to shareholders, it goes to indicate that the company have little opportunity to grow. Because if there's a lot of growth opportunity, why you want to give out the money to shareholders? You probably want to use the money to capture the market share first. So when they give us so much money, because there's really nothing much the company can do with the money, so it's better to pass the money back to the shareholders since you are the owners of the company. So that's good and bad. So I think they did 50%. I think it's pretty fair. At least they are not giving up too much, and they are also keeping some for some opportunity that may arise. Right. So 50% is pretty good. Later on, I'll show you the breakdown of the dividend yield. Alright, now we go to page 70. So after the IPO, okay, Mr. Teo Kian Ang will no longer be 100% owning this company. Okay, so after IPO, he will be just only 70% of this company. And what it means is that the public tranche, okay, will be holding 30% of the company. Now that he still remained the major shareholders in this company. It's one boss, big boss ownership. All right, so the rest will be just owning the 30%. So okay, so that this is a pretty good kind of corporate structure, because we do understand that the captain is remain on board and he will be the one that suffer the most if this business doesn't do well. Okay, so now here we go to the page 136. Okay, this is the sort of the growth opportunity, but having read all this paragraph, I think there isn't very clear indication of where the company is going here. Okay, so they do understand that they do face headwinds from the new maybe HDB or whatever switching to electrical with the induction cooker. Okay, so let me analyze this by the way. Okay, they do new flats will go on to induction cooker as well as typing on the pipe gas. Alright, pipe gas. So this is two threats that they face at the LPG, but of course I do think that some traditional kopitiams, they are still running on cylinder gas. I have heard of some at times where cylinder gas tend to be a little cheaper, but I really do not know what's the market like. But nonetheless, I do see that with a modern, more younger generation switching to induction cooker, that could be really a serious threat at the LPG. But thankfully, I think the remaining business model, remaining business they have, it will be going on a slow down trend, because a lot of people sometimes, like my family, still prefer the gas. All right, the cylinder gas. Okay, the rest, having read through that, I'm really clueless. Is okay. So, but anyway, I'm just gonna jump on to a comment I have on, since we are on the growth area. I'm just gonna bring this out. So what I have here is that I think LPG gas will be facing some threats, but definitely those areas that like 直插 they will still need a lot of wildfire to sometimes catch the attention of the bypassers to say that hey, we are doing a 直插 here. So I think the LPG business the remaining business still remains rather solid, but of course I do expect that they will have a very slow downtrend. Okay, as for the CNG business as mentioned earlier, now let's just bring me back to this page 3. So as we can see, the CNG business is on the serious downtrend. Personally, I do think the bulk of the CNG business come from the Transcap. Okay, you guys can read through the prospectus if you want. Okay, so Transcap itself is battling for business with Uber, and secondly is that there could also be further headwinds due to the technology of driverless car. So driverless car and electric car. So CNG will remain a big threat here. So I can foresee that maybe 10 years down the time, the CNG business could really evaporate off. Alright. And one thing I do like is that they have incorporated this diesel to cushion off any offset on any loss of business from CNG, because when you come to diesel engines that is able to carry heavy loads, electrical car is, I do not think there's any possibility of having replacing the diesel engines. So diesel business will remain in place there, and to help their earnings, I do think that the diesel business will continue to increase, because personally, well, I have experience with diesel engines during my national days time, when this is the kind of engines that you can really carry heavy tonnage. So diesel business will remain, and electrical car or CNG is unable to replace the diesel part. Okay, so here we are now. Let's continue here. So this is the interested person transaction. So as mentioned earlier, Transcap Group, the chairman or CEO, okay, He's also the Transcap owner. What I can see here, the core business of Transcap is the operation of taxi service in Singapore. Okay, Mr. Tan Teo Kian Ang owns 79% of the Transcap. Okay, he's also the CEO and chairman of Transcap. Alright, this is page 154 and next page 157. You guys can 157. No, did I miss something? Okay, so but anyway, okay, I think I missed something, but I don't think it's that important. Let me see. Okay, anyway, I think I lost the pages. Transcap is using the CNG gas, and so that's why it's better. I mean, it's advantage to Transcap business as well as Union Gas. But net of net, I think both business will be suffering over the time. Okay, so this is on the page 157. I think I lost count, probably the actual 157. Let me look through that. Yes, it's the actual page 157. Okay, so you guys can read through this page. This page 161. So you can see here that amount of subsidy reimbursed by Transcap to this company, but now that I do think that the sales of CNG gas to drivers, you can see that it's experiencing a pretty declining trend, and that's pretty serious. So the high dividend does explain the reason why here at this point why this company is giving out so much for profit as dividends. Okay, so here we are now. I'm just going to enlarge this thing. Okay, so from the page 65, there's a dividend policy. When we based on the earnings per share but pro forma, we can work out the earnings per share is about 1.53 cents. So this amount will be given out to the shareholders if they can get a 25 cents. And secondly, okay, the NAV came from page 14, so 6.73. So based on 25 cents per share, we are looking at a price to book ratio of 3.77, which is relatively high. But since the earnings are so good, this is pretty justified that 25 cents look pretty good and decent. Okay, so I'll mention this part. So now let's take a look at the dividend yield. So we have worked out the dividends of 1.53 cents divided by the share IPO price here. The dividend yield can easily come out to 6.12. So when we look based on the different price range here, we can see the dividend yield here. So personally, I think IPO price at dividend yield 6.12 for such business is pretty relatively good. But of course, I do not know if I can get it at the IPO. So going down, I probably think that the equivalent price, the decent fair price of these shares looks around 29 cents or 31 cents at max. Okay, anything lower 27, I think this is a pretty good acquisition point. 27. All right, but once the share price come out to this range at a dividend of 4.6 for declining business, is really a big concern. Okay, when we look at the PE ratios here at 25 cents, the PE ratio is translated to attractive 6.9. This is pretty good. Alright, so but nonetheless, we really do not know. I do expect the opening price of the IPO to come around easily at 0.29 cents here. So once it goes anything further down, I'll say that anything above 33 is absolute disposal, because this company is having difficulty growing. Alright, you can see the CNG business, you can see the LPG gas remains stagnant, CNG business is declining. So it will have a hard time breaking above this PE of 10 ratios. Anything above this is considered relatively expensive for such a declining business. Thankfully, the diesel business did able to cushion it off. So I will not offer anything above 33 cents per share for this share. Okay, so now what I see is that if you does have 1,000 shares valid through IPO, you probably can sell around 31 or 33 cents above the IPO, which give you probably $60 gains if you have 1,000 share. So well, they still decent amount, but I really do not know how the first day trading will like. So personally, I do think that 33 is a disposal point, or anything above 31 you can start considering to dispose of, and not to challenge yourself with the greed factor. So anything 35, I told to my viewpoint is to just sell it off. You will not get a dividend yield better than 4.6%. Personally, I do look at maybe 5% or 6% dividend yield for such companies, since the growth is not really good. So I think that's all. Okay, so that's all I think for this Union Gas IPO. So if you guys do not have a trading account, can just give me a call or drop me an email at rolandpaypk@philip.com.sg. Okay, I'm located at Raffles City at the 6th floor. You can meet me over there. So hi, I'm Roland. So that's all for today on the Union Gas. So hope to see you guys soon. Happy IPO, right? Okay, goodbye.